In this presentation we will look at what the plain English summary is, what is defined as plain English, and we will give you some hints and tips on how to write your own plain English summary. The plain English summary is your first opportunity to present your proposed research to the panel, but get it wrong and it might well also be your last. If it is difficult to read, the reviewer may lose interest and not read on. Remember, panel members will have a pile of applications to review in a small amount of time. So as you can see, the plain English summary is a pretty important part of your application. Writing a good plain English summary is challenging as you have a relatively small word limit for the brief summary of your proposed research. Although it is brief, it has to explain the research in enough detail for the reader to get a complete picture, including background methods and plans for dissemination of findings. In addition, the plain English summary needs to be understood by anyone who wishes to read it, including the general public. From these three definitions, we can see that plain English is clear, concise, and straightforward. Use only as many words as necessary and concentrate on the message. This is not a dumbed-down style of writing, so don't slip into an oversimplistic style. The reader may not be an expert in your particular field, but that does not mean they cannot understand new concepts. Remember, the aim of plain English is to get your message across clearly, more quickly, and to a wide audience. It can be challenging to get the tone right, so ensure you treat the reader with respect and don't be patronizing. A good plain English summary sets the tone and helps orient the reader, making it much easier to navigate the text. The reader should be excited and encouraged to read your application in greater detail. There is plenty of guidance available to help you write a plain English summary. Here I have suggested two websites, NIHR and the Plain English Campaign. Here are some of our tips. Keep your sentences short, and resist joining two sentences with an and. However, it is good to vary the length of sentences to make the summary more interesting to read. Cut out unnecessary words and avoid using adjectives and adverbs. Use the active voice rather than the passive voice. For example, instead of writing, 4 focus groups will be run, write, I will run 4 focus groups. It is difficult to read an application form that is full of dense text. So break it up with bullet points and subheadings. This applies to the plain English summary too. Can you replace longer words with shorter words? If you are struggling, the Plain English Campaign website provides alternative suggestions for hundreds of words. Avoid double negatives. Stick to one main idea per sentence. However, as with sentence length, you do not need to stick rigidly to this, as you risk the summary reading simplistic and formulaic. You should always explain your acronyms, even in the plain English summary. From this table you can see how easy it is for misunderstanding about your research to arise if acronyms are not explained. When completing your application, do read the guidance notes. They are very helpful and explain what information you are expected to provide in each section of the form. Here we have the latest guidance about the plain English summary. They explain very clearly the purpose of the plain English summary and how it will be used. The guidance notes also explain what should be included in the plain English summary. Use the subheading suggested here to ensure you have provided all the necessary details for readers to get a complete picture of your proposed research. Note that the guidance explicitly states that the plain English summary is not the same as a scientific abstract and that other sections of the application form should not be cut and pasted to create the plain English summary. So, once you have written your plain English summary, how can you assess its quality? How do you know if it is readable by a broad audience? Well, the best way is to ask your public contributor group to take a look, or it might be even better if you ask them if they would like to write the plain English summary for you. There are a number of online tests available to test the readability of your summary, such as SMOG, Flesch-Kincaid and Gunnings-Fox Index or FOG. However, I would not rely too heavily on these. I think it's often better to ask someone else to read it. This screenshot is taken from the NIHR Journals Library. This website provides details of every study funded and illustrates the importance that NIHR gives to the plain English summary. It is seen as vital in ensuring broad accessibility of NIHR-funded research and its findings. So to sum up, Although the plain English summary represents a relatively small part of the application form, its position at the front of the form indicates its importance. This is your first opportunity to sell your proposed research, and it may be the only opportunity, so use it judiciously to entice the reader to delve further into your application. Contact your local RDS for support with writing your plain English summary, and maximize your chances of submitting a successful application.